Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to our very first video podcast episode where we are going to be talking about one of the most hyped games to ever come from India, by a stretch, is FauG, of course, and it has finally launched on Republic Day. And you know what? I have some esteemed gentlemen out here who've played the game and who will be giving their inputs and feedback on it. So I'll quickly introduce them, and then we can jump right into the topic because I'm pretty sure that you guys all want to know what we feel about the game, and of course, if that mirrors your thoughts as well. All right. So now, firstly, I'd like to introduce you to Palash. Palash is actually the gaming correspondent here at
Hello.
MySmartPrice. Hey Palash, what's up?
Hi.
Hey. And then I'd like to introduce you to another MySmartPrice, teammate, which is Subhrojit. Subhrojit is the senior principal correspondent out here. Hey Subhrojit, what's up?
Hey guys.
Hey. And I have two gentlemen
Hi,
from
hi.
TechRadar India. Firstly, it's Aakash Jhaveri. Hey Aakash, thanks for being here. Awesome. So I'll start off with what could be the one question on everybody's minds, since the names are very similar. Is FauG a PUBG replacement or not?
I think the name itself sets us up for disappointment because people are going to relate too much with PUBG. People are going to be disappointed with it because it's just not the same, despite the name sounding so similar.
Yeah, the timing also was not very good in regards to that because they did clarify later on that it's not a PUBG replacement by any means, but the name is so similar and they announced it right after PUBG Mobile was banned in India. So it's kind of a circle that they wrote themselves into, and now they can't get out of it because everyone is expecting a game that is at least as good as PUBG, if not a total replacement. And so far with the campaign, it's not.
Talking about the release date itself and that it has been delayed, Palash has been covering this. Palash, how many times has it been delayed? And finally we have the 26th January release date now.
I mean, it has definitely not been delayed as much as Cyberpunk or even PUBG Mobile India, but it did see its fair share of delays. I think a couple of times maybe. But the most notable one, I think
Couple of times,
it
yeah.
was supposed to release around November sometime, if I'm right. And then they pushed
Right.
it. And
I think that's around the same time. That's around the same time PUBG Mobile India was also supposed to make that comeback.
Yeah,
And there was
yeah,
that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
hue and cry about
Basically,
that.
there was a lot of like news going around about PUBG Mobile India is coming, specific game for India, and then we had people making YouTube videos where they'll be like, PUBG Mobile India is
Yeah.
it's coming tomorrow, it's coming today, 3 fire emojis, but it never happened. And we finally did get 4G now, but it
Yeah, you can see one of those videos like that almost every day
man, it's
these
just
days.
become. I'm not even a PUBG player, but I want the game to release so the clickbait can end.
Okay, by the way, Akash, do you have any idea on if ever PUBG is ever gonna come at all? Gonna come back just before we move back on to 4G.
So overall, see, I feel PUBG was a really well-made game for smartphones. Now, of course, now that we compare it, being able to host 100 players on a proper 3D map with so many elements at once, I'm sure it's not an easy task to pull off. And there's probably a reason why only PUBG has been able to do that. With each passing day, my optimism for PUBG Mobile returning or like PUBG Mobile India coming to India is getting lesser. Yes, they did talk about investments and hirings and all of that, but see, we all know the reason it got banned, and that hasn't really changed yet. So I am not too optimistic for PUBG Mobile India.
Right. So, what do you guys think? What is the latest update on that? Somebody was mentioning that it's gonna not come back at all. Is that the final?
Yeah, I
verdict?
think I'm pretty sure I saw a report earlier today or last night which said that and they said that there's no permission in India for PUBG Mobile to operate yet. But then there was another report that they've not approached at all, and then there was a third report which said that this is not the department that deals with giving the permission. So I think that for now it's in such a state that I don't. They've made the marketing push because they are like coming soon. Like there's an India flag on the website, and there's a diya on during the Diwali this thing they did. There was a diya and everything. They've Indianized it, but I think they've not put in any actual effort into getting the game out with regards to like lobbying against or like even like paying off whoever needs to be paid off or whatever needs to be done. So yeah, that does seem accurate.
We're not holding any punches out here. Paying out,
Palash putting it like as
I mean, I don't know how it works. I'm just
Whoever
saying.
needs to be paid out.
as raw as it
Yeah,
can
but,
get.
That's you know what, to be honest, that's what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be unfiltered opinions, so
Yeah.
please feel free to speak your mind. That's not a problem at all. But FauG, okay, and now let's come to the game itself, because that is the most important thing. It doesn't really matter, all the marketing and hype really doesn't matter. If the game is good, obviously that's what matters, but I'm presuming it's not, considering both Subhrojit and Bodhi in their reviews mentioned very clearly that it's not a good
Which
game.
is why it's our headline is I played it so that you don't.
So, Shubro, we'll start off with you, and then we'll obviously take Bodhi's inputs on these as well, on this as well. Tell us about how the game is structured and what you can do inside it.
I mean, first thing you see is the lobby, of course, which is pretty bare bones. It's just the store play button and the settings button. Settings button actually has a lot of graphics options. So I think it does have support for a wide range of Android smartphones, which is something very crucial for a game to succeed in India. So I think FauG has done that part really well. As for the gameplay, I mean, it's as simple as it can get. You just, I mean, there are 3 game modes, out of which 2 is locked and 1 is open, which is the single player campaign, and that's the Galwan Valley Clash. So what I think Encore Game tried to do was to, kind of rouse the sentiments of the people in this country against what went down in Ladakh on that fateful day. But it's more of a dramatic representation of what really happened, and it's kind of a childish take on that one person remaining alive and trying to go there and beat all, like, probably hundreds of Chinese soldiers single-handedly using his bare fists or an axe or a pipe. You can't jump, you can't crouch, there's nothing like that. You just can walk up, down, left and right. That's it.
Just press the button. Yeah, and that's the weird thing,
Yeah.
because when you're thinking about a game where it's one man against like hundreds and hundreds of enemies, we have all done that in Max Payne. But the mechanics in Max Payne with like the bullet time and there were so many things, and there was so much room for the mechanics to be brought over to here. Even something like combos from, say, Mortal Kombat, because it is in the end like a brawler. But they have not done anything, and there are some animations where the guy goes like punch, 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 but they are randomized because there's no way you can bring it up. So that, I feel, is a missed opportunity, even though the beginning was supposed to be with a small campaign.
They clearly mentioned, right? I mean, I think in Rishi Alwani's interview on Meko, he, one of the developers or Vishal himself mentioned clearly that it's going to be only purely hand-to-hand combat, and that it's going to be replicating the Batman Arkham Knight series. And I had a very good laugh that day because when I played it, obviously it was nothing like that. And like Palash mentioned, it just feels like you hit the button and whatever animation comes up, it comes up on screen. Aakash, what was your feedback on playing the game? Did you enjoy it, or obviously like the others?
I enjoyed it for the wrong reasons, which I think we all share at this point. So I do agree entirely that it's a very basic game, and while the battle mechanics are pretty basic, I think we've lost count of how many times we've called it basic and simple by this point. So even apart from that, you really don't need to use your mind at all in the entire game. You can close your eyes, keep pressing the punch button, and you will be through it. And the only time you actually need to do it is sit by the fire and increase your health. And the enemies are so dumb that you can actually run away from them, and they run away from you as well. So
tell me one thing. When you're sitting by the fire, replenishing your health, the enemies are all away, right? I mean, it's like a very, very it's so structured, right? You hit the enemies, go sit down.
No, you can only sit by the fire once you've killed all the
the sitting
enemies.
by the
You
fire
can't
is a
sit
stage in
the
itself. It's not an option for regeneration. And it's straight up lifted from Fortnite, that too. Let me make that known, because healing with fire camp is like, it's a very Fortnite thing. And I was like, wow, okay, not bad. But then I realized you can't use it at will. The game will tell you when you have to heal. You can't decide when to heal.
You can't decide when to do it. I mean, but I mean, obviously, fine. I mean, sitting by the fire in the cold makes absolute sense. So that way they might have matched whatever happens in reality, but not necessarily, this thing. Anyway, now I have to talk about the dialogues in the game, because I played a little bit of it, and oh my god.
अभी तक मेरे फौजियों का कुछ अता पता नहीं, और घुसपैठिए।
I think Amit Shah wrote the dialogues for this game where he, like Bodhi mentioned, he went all Guspetia and infiltrator on it, and I was like, boss, what is happening out there? Like the kind of and all of his inner monologues that he's talking to himself or somebody. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I think that is the only fun part of the
Aakash,
entire game at this point, where they've put in some effort in at least finalizing the dialogues. So for anyone who has not played the game yet, it's almost as if you're watching a bad Bollywood movie where the hero, the protagonist, needs to keep giving himself a pep talk and encourage himself, encourage the entire country behind him, that there's a lot of people waiting behind him.
उन्होंने मेरे आदमियों को जहां भी कैद करके रखा है, मैं पता लगा लूंगा। हम साथ लड़ेंगे और हमें साथ मरने का भी कोई डर नहीं है। अपने साथियों को निराश नहीं। मेरे भाइयों, तुम जहां भी हो, मैं तुम्हें ढूंढूंगा।
I think the next thing that we can do is just wait for the multiplayer modes to go live so that we can have this round again one more.
Hey, 1 second. How can multiplayer be fun with just hand-to-hand combat and like clubs and maces being thrown around?
No, I think
third person.
Multiplayer will have weapons, if I'm right.
Yeah, so
I don't think it's going to be hand-to-hand throughout.
Where the option is still disabled, you can see the guys holding rifles in their hands. So there is a chance that it will have proper gun warfare. But looking at how poor the punching mechanics are, I really don't know how they will make proper 3D fun gunfare in this.
Hey, this is possibly when they will probably bring like bullet time to the game. Okay, I'm expecting too much. Sorry, guys. But maybe
there is bullet time of sorts when you land like the last punch on the enemy, like that guy falls in slow-mo. So there's technically
it happens after
bullet
you
time.
landed the punch, so it's not a part of the combat. It's just like, the guy is dead. Like let's let that sink in.
Hey, tell me about this. There's only this. There's basically in the game you walk around or run around and punch people. Is there like any other interactive element whatsoever, like something happening in it apart from this, or it's just this?
You can pick up like melee weapons.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah, but
Like
the
pipes
game
and
feels
axes
too predetermined
and
because
kill
there was
enemies
this
with
one
it.
stage, I think right before the campfire, and I'm walking around and I didn't see the checkpoint thing which was there. And technically, if I'm in the area, I should have been able to use the campfire. But I realized that I had to walk over the checkpoint, which was a bit out of the way in order to get there. So it feels like everything is very pre-decided. Like I'm fine with there being a path, but it's so pre-decided that like you have to be at that particular spot if you want to use this, and that just explains how the whole campaign mode is.
All right. So now you know what we haven't touched upon one very important thing: the graphics. Are the graphics any good? Like, is it at least Angry Birds level? I mean, I'm just kidding, but I mean, is there something to it? Is there anything redeemable?
It's not bad graphics, honestly, but it's not dynamic at all. Like the textures, the shadows, everything is very static. So when you crank up the graphics to an ultra or high, whatever that is, you will see some more detail. You will be able to see, but even their faces are pretty much just cylinders with a nose pointing out rather than something being 3D or chiseled. So I would compare it to something that we would see on a PS1 or a PS2, but definitely not in the same league as PUBG probably.
I played it on an old OnePlus 3, and in my opinion, it holds up surprisingly well on older phones. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, even I played it on my OnePlus 6T McLaren, and that's also now how much? 2 years old.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Unless the game plays well on Nokia 3310, I'm not gonna take it.
I actually have two of those.
But yeah, I did see that graphical setting thing because I was very curious because I was playing on a Snapdragon 765. I was using the LG Wing to play this for some odd reason because that's the only Android phone lying around with me right now. So I put the I moved the graphic settings all the way up to ultra, and it started stuttering a little bit. But I'm guessing even I didn't see too many differences in the graphics by themselves or the way the game looked. It looked equally bad across all the parameters.
I mean, the screen tears when you go around. I mean, if you go too close to the edges, the screen kind of tears. And I also found a spot where if you hit a Chinese soldier right around the edge near the wall, the ragdoll physics make it look such that they're dancing bhangra. That's also there. The glitches are amazing.
Have you captured it though? Pick or it didn't happen.
Yes, I have.
Then I'm definitely. Anyway, now one of the elements also that was discussed a lot is of course the whole IAP bit, right? I mean, in-app purchases. Why would they have merchandise selling on their game even before you know that if the game has become popular or not? That's pretty presumptuous, right? Say
No, but you have to understand,
Yeah.
this game got 4 million pre-registrations.
Oh yeah,
So the hype was definitely there.
yeah.
Yeah, but then again, it was misplaced hype because like leave aside the issues and the glitches and everything, it still doesn't like come quite close to what PUBG Mobile is, which it should have. I mean, I don't know why they decided to like do that. Like where they're like, no, we are not PUBG Mobile, we're different. I mean, you know what works and you know what the people want, and people are obviously giving you attention because of it. So you should have just gone.
No, but it's problematic because they wanted to go down that anti-China sentiment, right? And at the same time, if you're hailing PUBG Mobile as the model,
Yeah.
then it kind of clashes and people can, call
I mean,
you out.
what better way to stick it to
you're
them
replacing
by replacing them?
True.
Considering the fact that most Indian players nowadays are exposed to such good-looking games with finesse, with great gameplay mechanics, of course, like PUBG, COD Mobile, Genshin Impact, like tons of games out there that are really good. Definitely lacking. India's lacking in that department, and we should probably not try to bite off more than we can chew.
So one of the common, feedback that we got when we were discussing this on Twitter was that a lot of people were fine with it being bad right now because they are hopeful that the upcoming updates will fix a lot of things. Firstly, that is not really how you should be looking at the product. We remember how savage we were when Cyberpunk messed up multiple times. We do that with phones when we review them. Now if OnePlus sends us a phone and says that we fix the camera a few months later, we don't really forgive them. So I don't really believe in that school of thought. So for now, the only reason why we were all even interested in FauG was because of the India Connect and the PUBG Connect. And now that both of them are really underwhelming, it really leaves us with a very basic 2D game which no one really wants to play. Like, after playing this for an hour, the only thing I felt was that I wasted time. I didn't enjoy it, I didn't have fun, I didn't learn anything new, there was no storyline, and I didn't use my brain through all of it. So, like the essence of gaming, the entertainment, or some sort of achievement at least, all of that was missing. Thirdly, talking about the upcoming modes. So the team deathmatch mode is expected to bring weapons, but we all know how difficult it is to actually host an online game, have 10 people playing together over Indian internet standards, and do that perfectly. So not too optimistic once again. But yeah, and Battle Royale, if someone can pull it off, it'll be a big achievement, but I don't see that happening at least for 6 months now.
Promise of a better game in the future might not necessarily be enough right now is, I think, the common consensus between all of us. So let's close off with that statement. Let's try to figure out if everybody's on the same page, and if you guys have any comments on that. Do you think that FauG in the future will be a better game, and people could look out for? Because to be entirely honest, a game coming from India is something that we should be proud of. I mean, obviously that is possibly the reason why we're discussing it here in the first place, because there are so many videos that have been made around it. There are people talking about it a lot, and there is definitely a lot of commotion happening. So obviously we want a good game, because obviously when Raji came around, we were all really proud and happy about it. Whenever a movie wins at the Oscars, whenever an Indian movie wins at the Oscars, we are very proud of it. It's precisely, I mean, we want better for Indian game development, which is precisely why we're saying. So do you think that this can be better? Maybe all of this feedback that we're doing, having right now, will Encore possibly take this back and make it better? Is the question that I'm putting forward to the forum out here. Let's start off with Palash. Maybe Palash, what do you think?
I think it certainly does have potential. I'm not going to say that it's an entirely terrible game, because it's not. It's fine by the standards of what we have seen, and my opinion is that they need to hurry up and bring the remaining functionality or whatever the modes that they have planned. And if they can get it done on time, then thanks to the PUBG Mobile India delays, they do have an advantage here, and they can become a really good game.
I can't really say whether FauG will go on to become a better game in the future, but it does sets up a platform for more Indian developers to kind of pitch in and try to fill that gap that PUBG Mobile has left behind. So FauG could just be one of those attempts at filling up that gap in the next 1-2 years down the line, and that would be a very good thing for India, I think, as far as video games are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, to be entirely honest, and I'd like to close by saying that there are a lot of good mobile games being produced in India right now. I mean, for example, one of the only arcade game, Apple Arcade games. There is one game that was made entirely in India as well. There are a lot of indie games that are being made here. Obviously, Raji was one of them, and of course, the next, the Prince of Persia remake is also happening in here. I mean, that seems to be facing its own troubles and everything. So I mean, game development in India per se, in fact, even some of the biggest games out there, all of Ubisoft's development and testing, quite a few of the good engineers are out here as well, right? So game development in and of itself is obviously very exciting, but this is possibly not it. I mean, I think that there is still a lot of work to be done with FauG for sure. So great conversation, guys. I think this was a fantastic chat. I think we should do more of these. I am sure you all agree.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining, and I think that's it from us. Whoever's watching us, thank you so much for watching, and do share your comments and feedback on FauG. And if you've played it, please let us know what your review is like. Obviously, if you like it, also there's no harm in that, because I mean, it's a game. At the end of the day, if it excites you, if it entertains you, that's what matters at the end of the day. So that's it from me. Goodbye from me, and I'll take your leave, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time.